Russia. A vast and enigmatic land that stretches across two continents, Europe and Asia, covering more than 17 million square kilometers. It's a country of immense natural beauty and stark contrasts, a land of big differences. From the bustling, cosmopolitan streets of Moscow, with its towering skyscrapers and modern amenities, to the serene, timeless villages where life moves at a slower pace, Russia is a country of extremes. It's a beautiful country, but life there can be hard. The winters are long and harsh, with temperatures often plunging well below freezing. Yet amidst the cold, there are breathtaking landscapes like Lake Baikal, the world's deepest freshwater lake, and the historic city of St. Petersburg, with its stunning architecture and rich cultural heritage. It's a place where a rich history and culture mix with modern problems. The grandeur of the past is evident in the majestic buildings and monuments that dot the landscape, while the challenges of the present are seen in the bustling urban centers and the vibrant cultural events that bring people together. To understand Russia today, we need to look past the news stories. The headlines often paint a picture of political turmoil and economic struggles, but there's so much more to this vast nation. We need to see the cities and get to know the people. In the busy streets of Moscow and the peaceful parks of smaller cities, we find a diverse and resilient population, each with their own stories and dreams. Great writers, musicians, and artists are part of everyday life. The creative spirit of Russia is alive and well, with artists and performers continuing to inspire and captivate audiences both at home and abroad. From ballet to the symphony, art is everywhere. The elegance of a ballet performance and the powerful notes of a symphony orchestra are just a few examples of the rich cultural tapestry that defines Russia. You can almost feel the spirit of famous writers like Dostoevsky and Tolstoy in the cafes and on the streets. Their legacy lives on in the conversations and the literature that continue to shape Russian society. But under this lively surface, things are uncertain. The economic challenges and political tensions create an undercurrent of unease that affects daily life. The war in Ukraine is a big problem. It has brought international scrutiny and has had a profound impact on the nation's psyche and its place in the world. It affects everything in Russia, from the economy to people's lives. This isn't about politics. It's about the everyday struggles and the resilience of the people who call this country home. This is about what life is like in Russia today. The faces of the people, their daily routines, and their unwavering spirit tell a story of endurance and hope. It's a story about how people keep going, how they adapt, and the strength of the Russian people. In factories and homes, in schools and offices, the determination to persevere is evident. It's about how history and today's problems shape their hopes for the future. The lessons of the past and the challenges of the present come together to influence the dreams and aspirations of the next generation. Russia is a mix of many cultures, like a blanket made of different threads. This vast country, spanning 11 time zones and 2 continents, is home to a rich mosaic of ethnicities, each contributing to the nation's unique cultural fabric. The diversity is not just in the people but also in the landscapes, from the icy tundras of Siberia to the warm plains of the south. Over 185 different groups of people live there. These groups include well-known ethnicities like the Tatars, Bashkirs, and Chechens, as well as smaller, lesser-known communities such as the Evenks and the Chukchi. Each group has its own distinct language, traditions, and way of life, creating a vibrant and dynamic society. Each group adds its own traditions, languages, and beliefs. This cultural diversity is celebrated through various festivals, ceremonies, and everyday practices. For instance, the Tatar Sabantui festival showcases traditional sports and music, while the Yakut people celebrate Izyak, a summer solstice festival with rituals and horse races. From the people of Siberia to the Cossacks in the south, Russia's diversity makes it strong and complex. The indigenous peoples of Siberia, with their ancient shamanistic traditions, contrast with the Cossacks, known for their military history and vibrant folk culture. This blend of old and new, traditional and modern, rural and urban, creates a society that is both resilient and adaptable. This mix of cultures is easy to see in the country's art, music, and books. Russian literature, for example, is a testament to this diversity, with works that reflect the country's complex history and myriad influences. Music, too, ranges from traditional folk songs to contemporary pop, each genre telling its own story. Famous writers like Pushkin, Dostoevsky, and Tolstoy are known all over the world. Their works have transcended time and borders, offering insights into the Russian soul and the human condition. These literary giants have inspired countless others, and their influence can still be felt in modern Russian literature. Folk traditions are still strong, with exciting festivals all year round. These festivals are not just about celebration, they are a way to preserve and pass down cultural heritage. From the colorful Maslenitsa marking the end of winter to the solemn Kupola night, celebrating the summer solstice, these events bring communities together and keep traditions alive. Russians are known for being warm and welcoming. Hospitality is a cornerstone of Russian culture, and guests are often treated like family. This warmth extends beyond the home, with a strong sense of community and mutual support evident in everyday interactions. Sharing meals, telling stories, and being together are important parts of their culture. Food plays a central role in social gatherings, with traditional dishes like borscht, pelmeni, and blini bringing people together. These meals are often accompanied by lively conversations, storytelling, and toasts, reinforcing bonds and creating lasting memories. But there are limits on what people can say and do. In recent years, freedom of expression has been increasingly restricted, with laws and regulations curbing dissent and limiting public discourse. This has created a challenging environment for those who wish to speak out or advocate for change. It's harder to speak freely now than it used to be. Many people are cautious about expressing their opinions, especially on sensitive topics. This has led to a culture of self-censorship, where individuals weigh the potential consequences of their words before speaking out. Newspapers and TV stations that aren't controlled by the government have a hard time. Independent media outlets face significant pressure, from legal challenges to financial difficulties, making it difficult for them to operate freely. Despite these obstacles, some journalists continue to pursue the truth, often at great personal risk. Artists and performers have to be careful about what they do. The arts, once a space for free expression and experimentation, are now subject to scrutiny and censorship. Many artists navigate this landscape by finding subtle ways to convey their messages, or by focusing on less controversial subjects. Even with these problems, creativity finds a way. The human spirit's resilience is evident in the underground art scenes where musicians, painters, and performers continue to create and share their work. These alternative spaces provide a refuge for free expression and a platform for voices that might otherwise be silenced. You can see it in secret music shows and online groups. The internet has become a crucial tool for connecting like-minded individuals and fostering creative communities. Online platforms allow for the exchange of ideas and the organization of events, helping to keep the spirit of creativity and resistance alive in challenging times. Not many countries are as big and impressive as Russia. Spanning over 17 million square kilometers, it is the largest country in the world by land area. This vast expanse means that Russia encompasses a variety of climates, landscapes, and ecosystems, each with its own unique beauty and significance. It covers 11 time zones and has all kinds of landscapes. From the icy tundras of the north to the temperate forests and grasslands in the south, Russia's geographical diversity is truly remarkable. This diversity is not just limited to its natural features, but extends to its cultural and historical landscapes as well. From the frozen Arctic to the tall Caucasus Mountains, Russia's natural beauty is amazing. The Arctic region, with its endless ice and snow, is home to unique wildlife like polar bears and Arctic foxes. Meanwhile, the Caucasus Mountains, with their towering peaks and lush valleys, offer some of the most breathtaking scenery in the world. The huge taiga forests go on for thousands of miles, full of trees and animals. These forests, which make up the largest biome in Russia, are a haven for wildlife such as bears, wolves, and lynxes. The taiga is also a crucial part of the global ecosystem, playing a significant role in carbon storage and climate regulation. The famous Trans-Siberian Railway goes through these forests, connecting Moscow in the west to Vladivostok on the Pacific coast. This railway, which spans over 9,000 kilometers, is not just a marvel of engineering, but also a lifeline for many remote communities. It offers a unique way to experience the vastness and diversity of Russia. A trip on this train is like a journey through the heart of Russia. As you travel from one end of the country to the other, you pass through a variety of landscapes, from dense forests to open plains and even deserts. Each stop along the way offers a glimpse into the local culture and way of life. You see different environments and meet different people, The train journey is a microcosm of Russia itself, showcasing its incredible diversity. You might share a compartment with a business person from Moscow, a farmer from Siberia, or a student from Vladivostok, each with their own stories and perspectives. From the busy cities in the west to the small villages of Siberia, the trip shows you how big and diverse Russia is. Moscow, with its bustling streets and iconic landmarks like the Kremlin and Red Square, contrasts sharply with the quiet, picturesque villages of Siberia, where life moves at a slower pace. South of the Taiga are the steppes, wide-open grasslands that were important in Russian history. These vast plains have been the stage for many significant events, from the migrations of ancient nomadic tribes to the battles that shaped the course of Russian history. This is where groups of nomads used to travel, and where big battles changed the course of history. The steppes were home to various nomadic cultures such as the Scythians and the Mongols, who left a lasting impact on the region. Many historic battles, including those during the Russian Civil War, took place on these grasslands. Today, the steppes are mostly farmland, but you can still feel the history in these open spaces. Modern agriculture has transformed much of the landscape, yet the sense of history remains palpable. Monuments and markers dot the steppes, reminding visitors of the rich and tumultuous past that shaped this region. Getting around Russia can be hard because it's so big, but the public transportation, especially in the cities, is really good. The subway in Moscow is amazing, carrying millions of people every day. St. Petersburg's subway is smaller but just as beautiful, with colorful art in the stations. Fast trains connect the big cities and they're easier than flying. If you want to go to the smaller towns, there are lots of buses and minibuses called marshrutkas. But the roads can be rough, especially outside the cities. Even though it's hard to get around, Russia is worth exploring. Whether you travel by train, plane, or car, the trip itself is part of the adventure. You get to see the country, meet the people, and understand what makes Russia so unique. Safety is important in Russia. The government likes to keep things under control like they did in the Soviet Union. You see police everywhere, especially in the cities. This reminds people that the government wants to keep things safe and orderly. There are cameras everywhere, watching public spaces and train stations. This helps keep crime low, but it also means less freedom. It's harder to say what you think. The government controls the news, so you don't hear many different opinions. If people protest, the government stops them quickly. This makes people afraid to speak up, and it's better to go along with what the government says. Some Russians think this is okay because it keeps things safe, but others want more freedom. When Russia built lots of factories, especially during the Soviet Union, it caused pollution problems. The air is dirty in many cities, especially in winter when they burn coal for heat. Moscow is trying to clean the air, but it still gets smoggy sometimes. The water is also polluted in areas with lots of factories. The Volga River, an important river in Russia, is dirty because of factories and farms. The government is trying to fix these problems, but it's slow and difficult. Russia's pollution problems are complicated. They come from old pollution, weak rules, and industries that harm the environment. Fixing these problems will take a lot of work from the government and businesses. They need to find ways to be less harmful to the environment.